There's one thing I know about pretty much every fish keeper in this hobby, and that is that sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. We tend to never be satisfied with our aquariums. We look at them and we say, there's got to be something I can do that's going to make it look better. Well, if that's you, you're going to want to stay tuned because we're giving you 10 tips on how you can make your aquarium look cleaner. Okay, I know this one might seem like common sense, but you'd be surprised how many people think, my lights are fine. I mean, they're bright. But you'd be surprised at how much of a difference lights can make and just how different they'll make your aquarium look. We've got pretty much every light you can imagine, from the Fluval 3.0s to a few from Current USA, some Marine Lands, Coralites, and even the expensive Kessels. Almost every tank looks different. Some of them have more blue, while some have more yellow. Some of them you can make whatever color you want. Your lights don't always need to be brighter. Sometimes you can improve the look of your tank with lights that have red, green, and blue lights. This is what my goldfish tank looks like with the light that came with the tank. And this is what it looks like with the Fluval 3.0 marine light. Night and day difference, right?
If you followed our channel for a while, then you know we've gone through our share of backgrounds. From white holy rock to full 3D stone to blue and black painted backgrounds. We've pretty much had every type you can imagine. The thing is, backgrounds make a huge difference in the overall appearance of your tank. You'd be surprised at how much of a difference just changing the color of your background can make. Blue can make plants pop. A stone background can make things look more natural, and black, well, black backgrounds, they just make everything look better.
So you set up your first aquarium a little while ago. You got one of those starter kits that comes with the tank, lid, lights, heater, and filter. Everything's been fine, but you added a few more fish, and lately you've noticed the water hasn't been as crisp as it was. Well, it could be that you're not keeping up with the maintenance, or it could be that your filter might need a little boost. Most aquarium filters are going to be fine with what comes in the box, but sometimes you just need a little more. Sometimes it just needs a little more to make the water nice and crisp, and the stock media that came with the filter just won't cut it. Fortunately, there's tons of little tricks that can improve the performance of your filter. Things like adding some filter floss or additional sponges can help. These simple tricks only cost a couple dollars, and they can make a huge difference. Also, don't neglect maintaining your filter. Rinsing out the sponges in aquarium water and emptying the filter of debris on a regular basis could be all you need.
Before John and I lived together, I had a couple tanks. I was able to keep them nice and clean, but there was that one tank that I just couldn't keep perfect. I tried everything I could to keep this tank perfect, but no matter what I did, there was always a haze in the water. Like the water was kind of gray. John came over and I showed him what was going on with it and told him everything I had done to try to fix it. He said, "Oh, that's no problem. I have something to take care of it." The next time he came over, he had a small device with him. When I asked him what it was, he said it's a UV sterilizer and it's going to take care of your hazy water. I swear it was like magic. He put it in my tank and within a couple days, the water was perfect. UV sterilizers use ultraviolet light to kill microorganisms in the water, which helps to prevent infections in your fish while also killing off free-floating algae, making your tank crystal clear. There's large UV sterilizers that can go in sump systems, but there's also smaller ones that can go in your tank. They're not much bigger than heaters. We'll put a link in the description to the one that John put in my tank. If you've tried everything and you can't get your water perfect, then maybe a UV sterilizer will do the trick. It did for me.
Pretty much everyone that puts live plants in their aquarium wants them to get as big and full as possible, right? The problem is sometimes they can get a bit out of control and it can start looking pretty messy and sloppy. Think about your shrubs outside of your house. If you let them get too far out of control, they'll start covering up your walkways and blocking windows. Trimming them down will dramatically impact the appearance of your home. Well, live plants in an aquarium are the same way. I know some people like that look. They want the entire tank to be green. That's cool if that's what you're into, but if it's too much, consider getting in there and trimming things back a bit. Not only does it make your tank look cleaner, but it'll also let more light in and allow light to get down to the base of the plants, which for most of them means they'll grow even better. Nothing looks more natural than a planted aquarium, but they can also look really sloppy if they're allowed to get out of control. Don't be that guy.
In our aquarium, there's a constant circle going around and around. You feed the fish, they poop, the poop breaks down and builds up around the bottom of the tank along with the uneaten food. This happens over and over again, and after a while it starts to build up and it almost looks like mud in your aquarium. We call this mud-like buildup malm or detritus. Some people like malm because they say it looks natural and it's a great fertilizer for plants, but let's be honest. Who wants a bunch of mud in the bottom of their tank? A good way to slow down malm from forming in your tank is to occasionally skip feedings. You might think it's cruel, but trust me, your fish will be fine. If you're feeding your fish twice a day and you skip a day, what are your fish gonna do? Well, the first answer is they're not gonna starve to death, but the second answer is they're gonna start scavenging around and find something to eat. They'll start peeking through the substrate, rubbing up against rocks, or squeezing in behind decorations just to find something to eat. It's almost like they're cleaning the tank for you, sort of like having a maid service.
If there was a top 10 questions asked by new fish keepers, this would definitely be on it. Future 10 Things episode perhaps? Subscribe to find out. What's the best cleanup crew for my aquarium? First of all, let's talk about what a cleanup crew is, because it's not a bunch of fish that keep the tank clean so you don't have to do any work. A cleanup crew would be fish, invertebrates, and snails that are constantly scavenging around the tank looking for little bits of food or algae. They help keep things tidy so your tank looks less sloppy between maintenance, but they don't do your job for you. Now that we've got that out of the way, what is the best cleanup crew for your tank? Well, just like anything else in this hobby, it's totally going to depend on what you have in there. We like cory cats, autocinclus, shrimp, and snails, but obviously we wouldn't be able to put any of those in our 360-gallon South American or our African tank. For tanks like that, we use common plecos. But for smaller tanks with community fish, all of the fish I just mentioned should be okay. Well, unless they're big enough to eat the shrimp, that wouldn't be good. We also really like bristlenose plecos. They're really cute and funky looking, and they're constantly putting in work, but again, I can't stress this enough. They're not gonna do the work for you. I don't know how many times I had someone come into our shop and say, I need fish that will keep my tank clean. I'm sick of doing all this work. It happened every single day.
Activated carbon is one of the most common chemicals put in an aquarium to keep it crisp and clear. It's also something that's a hot button item in the community. Some people swear by it, and then there's others that think it's the worst thing in the hobby. Whether you're someone who uses carbon or hates it, let's talk about what it does. Carbon absorbs organic material in your aquarium, helping to keep the water crystal clear, and it helps remove odors. Let's face it, after a while your fish tank starts to smell like a fish tank. Some people like that while others, like me, I don't. No. Carbon will help to remove tannins from the water that are usually from things like driftwood and some plants. Tannins give the water that darker iced tea look that some people love while others think it makes the tank look dirty. Carbon will also remove medications from the water, which is nice if you've just gotten done treating the tank for something and you want to get those medications out of there. There's no doubt carbon is a great way to help keep your water clean and not smelly, but I definitely caution you before using it. Make sure you read the labels carefully before putting it in your tank. It helps a lot of common problems in your fish tank, but it can create other problems, so be careful.
This is something that not a lot of people think about, but it's absolutely true that your substrate can have a huge impact on the overall appearance of your aquarium. First of all, there's color. Lighter substrates can make your fish's color seem dim and grayed out. It's basically because of the way the light reflects off of that light color. Lighter substrates are also going to show things laying around like uneaten food and fish waste. While darker substrates can make your entire tank appear darker, which can in turn make it look dirtier. My personal preference is to find that happy medium. I like kind of that natural brownish color. It helps to hide some of the buildup of detritus and doesn't really impact the color of the water or the fish. But if you're someone who takes meticulous care of your aquariums, it really shouldn't matter.
I know what you're thinking. Come on, everyone knows you're supposed to clean your lids. What a waste of time putting this on the list. Don't freak out, hear me out. As fish keepers, we are all militant in the way we keep our glass clean. Green or brown algae builds up and we can't stand it. Luckily, there's a ton of tools out there to make cleaning our aquarium glass super easy. There's things like magnets and sponges that make quick work of cleaning your glass. There's even a glass cleaner sold by Fritz that does a great job getting the glass on the outside of your tank sparkling clean. But what about the lids? Glass lids are something that often get overlooked because our lights are covering them up and we can't see them every time we look in the tank. Here's the thing. Your glass lids develop a buildup on them that can block some of the light going into your tank. This is something that's going to happen in every single aquarium. I don't care how meticulous you are. Take a second to clean your glass lids every time you're doing your maintenance. If you keep both sides clean, you'll never get that buildup and you'll get the full amount of light shining through them.